What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Wyatt Bagnall.
Taylor Wallerstein.
And today we are going to be doing another division dissection. We're doing the NFC South this time. And we're going to start off in Atlanta. So their projected starters real quick, just so we're all on the same page. At quarterback, we got Marcus Mariota. Running back, Cordero Patterson. Wide receivers, Drake London. And I don't even know how the hell to say that second one.
Alameda Zacchaeus.
Good enough. Tight end, Kyle Pitts. Left tackle, Jake Matthews. Left guard, Jalen Mayfield. Center, Matt Hennessy. Right guard, Chris Lindstrom. Right tackle, Jermaine Ifedi. I don't even know who a third wide receiver would be. I guess this says that they might go a second tight end, Anthony Firkser, but I don't know.
I'm a big Anthony Firkser guy.
Fair enough.
He's a great depth guy, man.
So, and then defensively, we got Grady Jarrett and Taquan Graham at D tackle.
Okay.
Outside linebackers, Lorenzo Carter and Arnold Ebiketie. Linebackers, Deion Jones and Rashawn Evans. Corner, A.J. Terrell, Casey Hayward, Isaiah Oliver. Safety, Eric Harris, Jalen Hawkins. Not a particularly star-studded group. I think that would be fair to say.
I honestly, not as far back as I thought they were. Like, I thought, at the beginning of the offseason, I was like, they might be the worst team in the league right now.
They still might.
I think they're in the conversation, but I'd say they're better than they're better than, like, the Bears or potentially the Seahawks, who we talked about last time.
That's true.
I think the team does have a little bit more put together on, they got some key pieces on defense as opposed to the Seahawks having just safeties.
I mean, I think that they have 3, maybe 4 good defenders out of 11.
Yeah, I like Grady Jarrett.
Grady Jarrett's great.
Yeah, I think he's awesome. Deion Jones, I think, is a great middle linebacker.
He's been around there for a while.
Yeah.
A little underrated. I don't even know if he's underrated. He's just a solid player on a team that's never been good.
He hasn't got a chance to shine.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player on a bad team.
AJ Terrell was very sneaky good last year. Not a ton of turnovers, but
kind of
might have given up the least yards in the league or something like that.
Yeah, great steal of a player.
And
they got him from Jacksonville, correct?
No.
Or did they draft
No, they drafted AJ Terrell out of Clemson, I'm pretty sure.
Well, then, great pick.
They got... Did they send... No, the Panthers are the one that traded for the Jacksonville corner. But then they also brought in Casey Hayward from the Raiders.
Yeah.
Aging player, had a down year with the Chargers his last year, bounced back with the Raiders, and now he's with the Falcons. I think he'll probably be good.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. This defense, it's going to be bad again.
I think I think it's a good move, especially for a team that is not anticipating being a playoff team.
And I think that's the important thing. The fact that they decided to offload Matt Ryan really indicated that they were finally just going to eat being bad for a year. I mean, they were being bad anyways, but they weren't trying to.
Yeah.
They're finally going to accept that they're going to be bad for a year. They're going to try to fix their cap and really start rebuilding from there.
They should have moved on from Julio and Matt at the same time.
Yeah, this is probably a year too late.
Yeah.
Or a year later than it should have been.
Yeah.
But at least they're doing it now. I mean, they only have a few guys on here that I would honestly really care about retaining going forward, and it's really just Kyle Pitts and AJ Terrell.
And that's what's interesting is of all the in a rebuild of all the things to start your rebuild with, you're going with Kyle Pitts and Drake London.
Yeah.
So it's
and I don't even know how good Drake London is.
And as a USC fan, I love Drake London. I think they do have a number 1 guy, but that's a number 1 guy with no support whatsoever. Because like we just said, we don't even know how to pronounce wide receiver 2 over there.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't even they lost Russell Gage to
division.
Calvin Ridley, obviously,
gone for the year because of
some sports betting.
Which granted,
I get it from a certain perspective of the NFL can't have. They probably shouldn't have players doing any of that stuff at the same time.
It's a sponsorship thing, and from a business side of it, if you're gonna have the NFL,
you just can't do it.
Yeah, if you're gonna have the NFL be, you can't have this insider trading, kind of aspect of players actively betting, and to be honest with you, it's so easy to get away with it. that I have to kind of laugh at Calvin Ridley of how are you getting caught for this? It's
Oh.
yeah, especially for how stupid of the money was that you put in. Like it's only $1,000
Yeah, it was like
or something
couple
like that.
$1,000, 2,000, something like that.
And it's betting on the team to lose because you're not on it. Like that's funny.
I didn't think he ever bet on them to lose. I heard he only bet on them to win.
Well, then if anything,
Which is even more ridiculous
if
you're like
first of
just
all,
throwing your money away. But
if anything, yeah, you're just throwing your money away betting on the Falcons to win. And if you're betting on your team to win without you there, I mean, what?
it's still a problem. They cannot have players betting.
And I get that 100%. I just it's on both. It's like the NFL has to come down on you hard for this because they have to set a precedent. But at the same time, how are you this fucking stupid?
It was a harsh punishment that he got. I don't think every player who, if they were to get caught doing it, would get that. Well, maybe they would. I think that they wanted to throw. I think that they wanted like.
I think
that is a potentially massive issue. Like you might bet a couple $1,000 on your team to win or lose or whatever, but if you get caught doing that and it ever looks like you threw a game, that could be like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for the NFL, and they cannot have that. So. A lot of people are like, they should be able to do it. No, they shouldn't. They get paid very, very well. They don't need to make more money gambling on football.
Yeah, on stuff that they have a direct impact in.
Yeah.
And if you're a player and you want to gamble on football, then be fucking smart about it and don't be Calvin Ridley.
Just don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, granted.
But, I mean, Kyle Pitts, in terms of weapons on this offense, Kyle Pitts is the only reliable one.
Well, you see, and again, that's the thing is that, like, you're starting this rebuild with Kyle Pitts and Drake London. So regardless of what Drake London is, you're starting it off with two very athletic skill guys, which is the opposite of where you start a rebuild.
Here's the thing. I don't think that Drake London's a number one. I don't think there was a true number one in the draft this year. That's why nobody was, like, buzzing over any of these dudes as much as they were... Like, Devontae Smith went third last year of the wide receivers. He would have probably gone first out of these guys. Pretty easily.
I think Jameson Williams...
But his injury messed with that. But I'll give you that. I like the Lions getting him.
I think they do consider him a number one. And I think when it's all said and done, maybe... I actually think George Pickens could be a number one, too. But he's not being drafted to be a number one.
So, but I think that even if you want to say these guys have the talent to develop into that role... Drake London is not being put in the best spot to start off that way.
No,
I don't think this rookie year is going to go great for him.
No, unfortunately not. I wish I could say otherwise, but I don't believe in Marcus Mariota.
No,
I don't think. We'll have to see if Desmond Ridder gets a chance to.
He won't
to even play, but I doubt it.
No, I don't even think. I'm not even sure Kenny Pickett's going to play.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah,
it's sounding like Mason Rudolph's actually winning that quarterback battle.
You want to talk about an indictment on your quarterback room? If Mason Rudolph is winning a quarterback battle, I mean, Myles Garrett's got to be excited. But
I think that's the only person who is excited to hear Mason Rudolph is winning a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, the Falcons just don't have much in the way of weapons. Cordero Patterson is a unique piece, but it's also just how many times can you keep doing sort of the same stuff before teams eventually just sort of get a feel for it.
Is he truly as talented as an athlete as he is, where he can play all these positions, or is it strictly that people are going to figure it out?
I think running back probably is the best spot for him because he's a good return guy, and running back and returning is sort of similar, where it's like read the blocks, find the holes, and go. Yeah. It's less like route running techniques and stuff like that. It's more just get the ball, be an athlete.
Yeah, I think he belongs back there, but with this O-line and everything, I mean, Jake Matthews, good to have him at left tackle again, but
it's the only piece that's been there more than a few years.
Exactly. Other than that, I'm not sure how I feel about these guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of their offense, I think they're going to be bottom 5 probably.
Yeah. It's just not enough producers. I mean, Kyle Pitts, I'm sure Kyle Pitts will prove in his year 2 that he's the guy for that team and everything, and he'll get his numbers.
Unless teams are just like, that's the only dude we're not letting go off.
Exactly. I mean, if like, what really scares me the most about this whole thing is, I mean, I meme on the Bears constantly because of their lack of wide receivers and the whole N'Keal Harry trade. It's like, thank God, now there's another wide receiver other than Darnell Mooney.
We saved him.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney finally getting some help. Justin Fields is going to light it up this year. Like, you know, I keep making crazy jokes. I genuinely this Falcons team, I want to go play Madden and run a franchise with this team because of how bad the wide receivers are.
I mean, listen, the Bears and Falcons have comparable weapons. I would say the Falcons have better weapons just on Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's like the only significant difference. But
And
yeah,
they-
this offense.
and they have a first round wide receiver. I mean, it's literally a first round wide receiver in Darnell Mooney and nothing else. Maybe Cole Kmet, but he's no
He's not
Kyle
Kyle Pitts.
Pitts. Yeah,
But yeah, this offense, it's not going to be
It's not
good.
doing it. Yeah.
And I suspect this defense isn't going to be that great either. That pass rush is not going to be there.
With how much that defense is going to be on the field, it's going to be rough.
Yeah. I mean, they got a few good players. They got 4 out of 11 players are really worth a damn. Maybe 5 if one of these dudes is surprising. But yeah, I think it's going to be a rough year in Atlanta. But I think the Falcons knew that. I think the Falcons fans already know that. And
I think that's what the preparation is for.
I think the entire plan was this is the year we're just going to eat it and rebuild. So
Because they're still paying some of Matt Ryan's contract.
Yeah, they are.
So yeah, they're probably just absorbing some dead cap.
Yep.
See what they got in a couple of these players. Maybe maybe they pay Kyle Pitts long term. Maybe they pay Drake London.
They wouldn't pay
long-term.
him for another year.
What's that?
They wouldn't pay any of these dudes for at least 2 more years.
Well, I know, but I'm saying is it's going to be 1 year of just throwing this year away before the rebuild truly starts next year. So I think you don't need to pay Kyle Pitts for like 2-3 years. If he's the real guy for a guy who when you don't have a quarterback, then you pay him to support your young quarterback going forward.
I mean, this could be a team that kind of like the Texans probably wouldn't mind being awful and getting like the Bryce Young sweepstakes or something like that.
Potentially. Yeah, this could be a Bryce Young home for sure, actually.
Yeah.
I think that would be probably what they're aiming for is tanking for a top quarterback prospect.
Yeah, that's what I would suspect. But yeah, Atlanta, it's going to be a rough year. This team is not even close to being a contender right now.
No, not even in a crappy NFC.
I'd say they're like, I would say probably 3 years is probably what we're looking at before Atlanta is really competing again.
In 3 years, maybe a playoff wild card spot.
I think
with a young quarterback.
I think that's definitely attainable.
Yeah.
So Falcons, if I was to rate this roster like A to F, I mean it's on the low end. I'm probably gonna give it an F because there's no more than like 3 or 4 players on each side of the ball that are even quality.
Any of these players on this team who look good now are going to be gone by the trade deadline or in the next year.
I'll give them a D- just to be nice.
I'll give them a D- because there's pieces, but they need to commit fully to the rebuild. Otherwise, you're just holding on to guys who are going to do nothing for you.
Exactly. All right, so moving on to Carolina.
Let's do it.
Their projected offense, I put Baker Mayfield here. There's obviously a chance he could lose this and all that, but as of right now, I'd say that we're going to put Baker Mayfield there. Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall, Ian Thomas, Ike Mekwonu, Brady Christensen, Bradley Bozeman, Austin Corbett, and Taylor Moton make up the offense.
Okay.
Defensively, we got Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Matt
Ioannidis. Yeah, Ioannidis.
Yetur Gross Matos. Sure, why not? Shaq Thompson, Frankie Luvu, Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, Jeremy Chin, and Xavier Woods in the secondary.
C.J. Henderson,
that's who Jacksonville got.
Not A.J. Terrell, my bad.
Yeah. Offensively, this is, I don't know, man.
They're not that far off, actually.
If Christian McCaffrey cannot stay healthy, this is going to be a big problem.
That's what's been breaking my heart is he's so much fun to watch and he's explosive. You just watch him for 3 clips at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
I love the guy to death. Really want to see him have a full season, and I'm actually really glad that with Ikem Ekwonu, starting to invest a little bit in that O-line. Hopefully we get to see him stay up. But yeah, he has just been brittle as of lately, and it's been hard to watch because he's so much. The Panthers are horrible to watch without him.
This is the team that should have brought in a second back, like a really reliable second back this offseason, or drafted one.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Because listen, I don't have that much confidence in certainly Sam Darnold, but I don't have much in Baker Mayfield. I don't think he's bad, but he's not enough to make up for stuff if they start losing pieces. And Christian McCaffrey would be a big piece to lose. The player I'm really interested in this year is DJ Moore.
Same.
Again, I don't know if this is the quarterback that can take DJ Moore like to that next step.
Sure.
But he could be on his best days. Robbie Anderson. And I mean, the Panthers have some pieces. They don't have really any. They don't have a ton of elite pieces, but they got a couple solid ones.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting. I'm not sure about the line. Aquanu, you like to see the investment, like you said. You never know how these guys will turn out.
Sure.
But it was the right swing to take.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not. You said the Panthers have like pieces. I'm not really feeling most of this Panthers offense. Because and again, a big part of it is I'm just expecting Christian McCaffrey's not going to be able to play all 17 games.
And that's at this point it's his track record, so it makes sense. I would genuinely, the reason why I say the team's more put together is less from the offense. The offense needs to figure it out. It's more of the defense. Yeah. Brian Burns is a franchise guy for your DN.
Yep.
Like you already got him there.
Yep.
Derek Brown I think is actually a solid D tackle so
Yep.
far.
Shaq Thompson's a solid linebacker. He's not he's obviously not what Luke Kuechly or Thomas Davis were.
Yeah.
But he's a solid linebacker.
Yeah.
The area of this defense that has me most intrigued is the secondary.
I agree.
Specifically J.C. Horn, coming off an injury.
Yeah.
C.J. Henderson was a first-round pick, maybe a full offseason in Carolina. He can sort of step up to that.
Yeah.
Not sure.
But on paper, they've got 2 first-round guys in their secondary.
Yeah. And then
so
Chin,
they can play up to that level, then that looks pretty good.
Jeremy Chin at safety, he's played well.
Yeah, reliable guy.
Yeah, so if he keeps ascending, they'll probably have a legitimately like blue chip safety.
Yeah.
Xavier Woods, pretty sure he came from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I think the secondary is their most overall solid unit on this team.
And we talked about J.C. Horn and C.J. Henderson, but I got to give a quick shout out to Dante Jackson as well. He's not bad at corner.
No.
They have a pretty solid lineup of corners. If those guys just live up to their potential and do nothing more of first-round pedigrees plus what Dante Jackson brings, they have a solid second.
I think the dude that Carolina is really hoping to see something from, though, is J.C. Horn. I think that if they got their way, he'd be their number 1 guy this year.
Yeah, I would say, like, what needs to happen to really let this secondary take that next step is J.C. Horn needs to be that lockdown guy over there. So it needs to be support from Dante Jackson and from C.J. Henderson, who can just lock down the other side of the field, and have J.C. Horn be the name, like the marquee name of the Carolina Panthers defense right now.
Definitely.
The good news, right next to Brian Burns.
The good news for J.C. Horn is coming off an injury. It's not like when you play Atlanta, it's going to be a pretty easy day.
Yeah.
Tampa, not so much.
Yeah.
New Orleans, I think it sort of is going to depend on when you play them. They're probably the most interesting and most volatile team here.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons are pretty easy to put near the bottom. You might disagree. I think Carolina, it's pretty safe to assume that they're going to be closer to like the bottom third of teams in the league.
Sure.
I think New Orleans is very volatile, where on their high days they could probably beat almost any team, and on their low days it's like, well, damn, what the hell happened there?
I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll talk about them when we get to them.
But I mean, me personally, I don't see a ton that I'm in love with Carolina.
Sure.
I'm intrigued by their secondary. Brian Burns is solid. Shaq Thompson is solid. Derek Brown is solid. Their defense is their better unit.
Yeah.
A lot of the Panthers' success is obviously going to come down to Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold or whoever the hell they put out there.
And Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I think that it's just... I still think the Panthers are probably a year away, but I don't know if Matt Rule has another year if they're bad again.
That's kind of what I'm saying is I think they might be a year away as well. I don't know if this is exactly the coach for this team. I think the coach has built a very solid defense, but he's a defensive minded coach and he's been unable to put together an offense at all. Mm-hmm. So I think the firing of Joe Brady was a horrible move. I honest to God would have hired Joe Brady from the start here and had Joe Brady come in, especially off of LSU's success, build an offense, because that has been the issue for the Carolina Panthers since the MVP season with Cam Newton. They have not had an offensive identity since he got injured.
Yeah, I mean, long gone are the days of Steve Smith, Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis.
That was a fun Panthers team.
There was a few years where the Carolina Panthers were like legitimately always good.
It was a fun Panthers
team. It was the first team to, I think, They might have been the first team to ever win the current iteration of what the NFC South was back-to-back years.
Really?
Yeah, which shocked me because I would have thought the Saints had done it with Drew
Yeah.
Brees. But apparently it had been like every single year was a new division winner between, it was usually the Saints or the Falcons. But
Interesting.
now, and then Carolina went on like a nice run, and now their rebuild has not gone quite as they planned. But
yeah, not the way that they're open. And honestly, I think DJ Moore is a solid wide receiver. Like,
Yeah.
I think he is a one. I think he can be a one. He gives me Brandon Cooks kind of vibes. Just has not been able to be used to his fullest.
that's the problem, though. Is eventually they're gonna have. That's the tough thing with like getting players like that on teams like this, where it's like, okay, he could be good, but we have really no real way of evaluating him.
I would watch him around the trade deadline for sure.
Yep, that's a piece that could be very
if,
valuable.
If they end up being as bad, like if Christian McCaffrey is hurt, I end up seeing, it's possible they even trade him.
Yeah.
Even Waller.
I think that's more likely.
Yeah, I think Christian McCaffrey is definitely, they're looking to probably move on from him. Not because, like, even if he's playing well and staying healthy this year, they probably could be looking.
Come on home to Denver, Christian.
I don't want him in. No. They got Javonte Williams as their lead guy now.
Yeah, but you don't need him to be your lead guy.
They brought back Melvin Gordon though, so I think they're locked in on the
flip him. Flip Gordon for McCaffrey. I don't care. I'm just saying, like, this is a league nowadays where
it's too late for that. I'm no longer a Denver fan. I do not want him in Denver now.
Having two backs is like sort of the way of the league now, unless you're the Titans.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well then send him over to Cincy and we'll take him. Because we got Joe.
You don't.
And a better O-line.
You don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need him. Yeah,
No.
but Denver does. Okay.
Well, yeah, because he's from here.
Yeah, no.
I like seeing people be able to play for their hometown teams.
Yeah, it would have been awesome if we didn't have if Russell Wilson was the fucking quarterback here, and then they're never gonna play in the playoffs or anything.
Yeah. All right, so Carolina, I'll give this team's roster a C- because I think their defense will be solid, but I don't have much faith in their offense.
I'll go C+. I'll say I'll give a little bit more optimism to the offense because I do love C-Mac, and I think Baker with a chip on his shoulder is the best version of Baker you can get.
Yeah. Okay, so on to New Orleans, and this is the one that I think I'm going to want to talk about the most because I just think that this team is very, very interesting.
Okay.
Quarterback, it's going to be Jameis, Kamara, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry, Adam Troutman. Sure. I don't know who that one is, but that's okay. Trevor Penning, Andrews Pete, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Ryan Ramczyk make up the offense. Defense, Cameron Jordan, David Onyemata, Shai Tuttle, Marcus Davenport, Demario Davis, Pete Werner, Marshawn Lattimore, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Paulson Adebo, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May. This team overall is very solid. The Kamara suspension won't be fun, but they got enough weapons in other places where losing a running back is not devastating. Do they still have Latavius Murray there, or is he gone?
It's possible they kept him around
Because
he might be over with the Vikings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe?
That's probably right.
Maybe he's still with the same. I don't know. I actually do not know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Jameis. We all know what Jameis is. This is the ultimate roller coaster where he'll throw for 5,000 yards but 30 interceptions, and it's just Jameis is what Jameis is. If Sean Payton was the coach of this team, I'd feel a lot more comfortable because
but he's not.
I just tend to believe Sean Payton can get guys to peak.
Sure.
But listen, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and Jarvis Landry is a very good receiving core.
Absolutely. I think Slant Boy is not really anything to be worried about, to be completely honest with you.
Listen, you might not be worried about him. He'll be one of the best possession receivers in football at the very least.
If you had a quarterback who gave a shit about possession football, then absolutely, that'd be devastating. But you have a quarterback who possession football scares him like the plague, and you've got, however, with Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry in that wide receiver room, I have to have some sort of idea that Michael Thomas is going to be able to get back to form.
Yeah,
if his head's fucking clear.
I'm not worried about Michael Thomas. I'm not worried.
I big time am.
I mean, I'd be more worried about the injury thing. The thing that most concerns me with the Saints is just Jameis and getting through the Kamara suspension. Because their defense is going to be really good again. And it's just a matter of that offense. Their O-line's solid. Their wide receiver core is really good. When Kamara gets back, running back is set. This is all Jameis and Dennis Allen.
And that's my issue is I don't trust Jameis without a solid head coach, and even with a solid head coach, he's still as volatile as ever. I don't understand why the meme is that they love his workout videos. Like when I see that
Those
he
are
works
so
out,
funny.
when I see that he works out like an idiot, like it makes me consider more. It's like, why do we think he's just gonna figure it out this year? Like after the LASIK eye surgery, after 7 fucking years of being in the fucking league and continuously unable to put together a season where he is only good, never the bad. Why do we think out of nowhere this is just randomly gonna fucking change when he doesn't have fucking a good head coach?
My biggest thought on this is he was playing well before he got hurt.
He was still volatile.
Possibly, yeah, he still is, but like he was hitting the high end more than the low end, and it helps that this team is just better than Tampa was while he was there. And
he had Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans did great. It's not like Mike Evans was bad.
No, I'm saying.
But I'm just saying. But okay, so here's the other thing.
He's had his help before.
Here's the other thing. Yeah, but okay. Here's the other thing. First of all, they're gonna wipe the floor with Carolina and Atlanta. That's 4 wins right there. I have 0.
I think they split with Carolina.
I do not. I think that they will school Carolina twice.
I think Jameis loses a game.
I think they'll beat the hell out of them, and they will split with Tampa. Because for some reason...
Split with Tampa?
For some reason, they're just that team that has Tampa's number.
They were, because it was Sean fucking Payton. It wasn't just the Saints.
It was their defense that did it.
And only 3 of these guys are still on that defense from a team who did it against Brady.
They've upgraded a lot of positions.
I don't think so.
Safety is a double upgrade. Corner's really strong. Linebacker's still strong. D-line is still strong. The Saints defense is going to be good. Saints defense is not. Of all the defenses in the league that were good last year, I think most of them will be good again.
I think the Saints defense is going to be good again. The Tampa Bay offense got even better.
No, I don't doubt that. Yeah. I'm just saying. I think that's why Tampa will get one off the Saints this year. I just think the Taints. I just think the New Orleans Taints, dude.
The New Orleans Taints.
I just think that the Saints are. I just think the Saints are feisty. It's like every team in these divisions has issues, no matter what. Like New England in their prime dynasty years struggled in Miami, even in their worst years.
Sure.
Sometimes it's just styles. Like even in the years when the Cardinals were bad and the 49ers were good, for some reason the Cardinals would get one off us, and it would just be consistent. Like sometimes teams just like, well, we've seen nothing but that from the Saints.
We've seen, with Sean Payton as the fucking head coach.
Everything else is the same except Sean Payton.
I think that is such a game changer.
It is.
To your entire locker room culture, the game plan. Like, that is such a devastating blow. Like, I can't believe we're just going to sit
here. It is a massive loss.
And act like Dennis Allen's going to be able to come in there and take one away from Brady. Like, Brady on his best team pissed his shit because he got his fucking retirement spoiled, so he came back to fucking prove everyone wrong and get an 8th fucking ring, like with a better fucking team.
I'm not saying the Saints are winning the Super Bowl or anything.
No, and I get that, but I think I do not see it with this Saints.
I'm saying this Saints team
that they just completely blow the rest of the division out of the water and then split one with Tom Brady.
They blow the rest of the division out of the water easily.
I don't think so.
And then they split one with Tom Brady because they're just the team that stylistically is weird for Tampa.
They were that team. I don't think they are.
Still are.
I don't think so. I think this is Brady comes in and steamrolls them because it's fucking Jameis.
Marshawn Lattimore, for some reason, is really good at just taking Mike Evans out.
Okay. Then throw to Chris
Godwin, that happens every time. C.J. Gardner-Johnson has done really, really well against them. Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May are both upgrades at safety. Their secondary is better, so they can cover.
I don't know. This team does not convince me in the slightest, and maybe it's because part of it is because even when they had everything right with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, they still shit the bed. And now we're in a position where they don't have either of those guys, and all of a sudden we're just supposed to expect them to not miss a fucking beat. I don't think they're not going to miss a beat. I don't think that they're going to come close to winning this division. I think that this is a team that's going to hover somewhere in the. You can either go 7-10 to 9-8 range. I think we're about to watch the beginning of a rebuild.
No.
I'd say this is the beginning of the end.
No.
You'll see these guys on different teams.
Maybe, but there's too many pieces for them to be awful this year.
That's the thing, is that there's too many pieces for them to not have won it in the past 10 years. And now we're in a position where
Well, you want to talk about different teams. The last 10 years doesn't matter for this team.
Well,
So if you want to talk about like them not winning in the last 10 years, those teams were all completely different to this one. This one's not like a Super Bowl contender.
well, that's what I'm saying.
This team could I think this team could get close, if not get like snagging that last wild card spot.
I could see myself being proven wrong and that potentially happening. Except that's the thing, is I don't think Jameis Winston has a clutch bone in his body to get a team.
I think he has to do less than he was doing in Tampa.
And that's the thing, is I don't think he can even handle that.
I do. So I'm gonna give the Saints roster I'm gonna give him a B- because quarterback and getting through the Kamara suspension.
Sure.
But other than that, this team's just solid.
I'll give him a C+. Prove me wrong. Kind of aspect
They will.
of him. I don't think so.
They will, dude. They are leagues above Carolina and Atlanta. 4 wins right away.
I think they're better than both. Absolutely. That's why I'm saying they split one with Carolina. But I think I just think it is what it is. However, I just don't see it. I've yet to see it in multiple years of seeing it with the Saints, and that was when they had even more pieces than they do now. So I genuinely I gotta see it.
I don't even like the Saints, but I'm just aware of like they had too many pieces to be as bad as Carolina, Atlanta, Seattle, Arizona.
That's what I'm
they're
saying. Jameis Winston brings them down.
But through default, just by like stacking them up against the rest of the NFC, just like by default, they're already closer to that wild card spot than most of those other teams are.
Yeah, but I'm looking more realistically of I don't trust Jameis Winston the slightest.
I don't trust him in big moments, but I mean I think that everything else.
How do you get to the playoffs without having big moments?
Ask Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm still on this one.
Whatever. I'm not having this conversation again.
Is what it is. All right, so Tampa Bay. Quarterback Tom Brady, running back Leonard Fournette, wide receiver. We're going to discuss the wide receivers because I'm not exactly sure who 3 is going to be, but number 1 is Mike Evans, number 2 is Chris Godwin. 3 will either be Russell Gage or Julio Jones. Tight end is Cameron Brate. Then we got Donovan Smith.
They got O.J. Howard too, right?
No, he's in Buffalo.
That's right. What am I? Yeah. Whoops.
Yep. Left guard Luke Gadecki because they lost Ali Marpet.
Yep.
Ryan Jensen just got hurt, so I'm not sure who's playing center right now.
Yeah.
Right guard Shaq Mason. Right tackle Tristan Wirfs. Defense Logan Hall, Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, Devin White, Levante David, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Carlton Davis, Jim Eldine, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Antoine Winfield Jr., and Mike Edwards. It's a solid team.
It's a division winner.
I feel pretty confident in this being the NFC South champ.
Yeah.
Tom Brady. The only X factor is like I have no doubts about Tom Brady, his skill or anything like that. But we've seen Father Time just strike at like the most random moments and just get you.
Sure.
That's obviously always a factor, and in his older age, one wrong hit can end it.
Sure.
But that's really the only thing I'd worry about for Tom Brady. Is just like age is just a fickle thing.
Yeah.
I'm not betting on any of this happening.
Yeah.
It's just something to be conscious of when players get older. Like Peyton Manning was playing really, really great, then all of a sudden just dove. I don't think it'll happen for Tom Brady. But something to consider. Leonard Fournette running off the extra weight, I'm hoping.
Apparently he's got some cardio to be doing.
Yeah. The wide receiver core is really, really good. Mike Evans, we all know what Mike Evans represents. He's very, very good. Chris Godwin coming off an injury will still be good. Russell Gage and Julio Jones. If I was the Buccaneers, I'd probably be planning more on Russell Gage being my number 3. Just on the grounds of Julio Jones has shown in the last few years he's not the most reliable guy to have out there. When he plays, he's definitely more talented, but it is a thing of when he plays.
Yeah, I think you're better off in a position of having him be a wide receiver 4, putting him in more during third down situations.
Yeah.
When you need to get the first down.
Good luck having your linebackers cover him.
Yeah, exactly. I said this previously. I think Julio Jones in the wide receiver 3 role, even at this washed up stage of his career, is still one of the best wide receiver positions you could ask for.
Mm-hmm.
because he's gonna get open. He knows how to get open, and he's gonna catch the fucking ball.
Yep.
So I like him for red zone situations, which is kind of what I think they're looking for here. Is they've with AB they had a lot of red zone opportunities because AB was uncoverable by that third
Shifty
guy.
route runner.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think you're kind of looking for that here, but in the way that you bring up, you have a Russell Gage to play those other two downs. You have a guy who I think he's a little bit faster, more of a street guy.
Yeah, definitely. He's probably closer to the Antonio Brown role.
Yeah.
Of like a little smaller, more shifty,
speedy.
Like he's just he like body type wise is closer to Antonio Brown.
Yeah. And I think they like him on when there's more yards, when there's more yardage to work with, more field to go for. Put in Russell Gage, give Julio a little bit of a breather.
Mm-hmm.
That prevents the injury bug from biting Julio again. And you just get to use Julio in positions where Julio is comfortable just racking up stats basically.
To use a basketball term for this, Julio Jones should be like on load management.
Exactly.
Where you're sort of like, okay, these are the situations we really need him. These are the ones we don't so much. These are the days we really need him to practice. These are the days we don't because he's the type of dude that you're really going to want healthy by the playoffs. And if you're going to don't waste him and empty the gas tank on like a meaningless regular season game against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Well, he might want to play against Atlanta.
Honestly, I'd let him play against Atlanta. I'd give him.
Fine, we'll give him Carolina off.
Give him Carolina off. We'll beat Carolina without him.
Yeah.
But then let him just go. Let him be wide receiver 2 for Atlanta. And just tear him up a little bit.
I'm not even sure he could beat out Chris Godwin for 2 right now.
Well, I know, but just it's like senior on senior for varsity.
Fair enough.
Let him start.
Tight end, they lose Gronkowski and they trade OJ Howard, but Cameron Brate was always a good player whenever he got his opportunities. And with the 4 really good wide receivers, I'm not worried about any weapon on this team.
Honestly, Cameron just needs to be if he can work on the drops because he's got a little bit of concentration drop issues. He just needs to be possession guy for Brady of security blanket, number 5 of, just be standing in the middle of the field, getting open and catching a ball for 5 yards, and Brady has nowhere to go.
Yep. The O-line, I think it's really solid. The question will need to be answered about the center position.
Yeah.
I would be less concerned about this on this team than other teams because a lot of times the thing that would concern people about centers is like, will they get to the right protections? Will they know what's going on? That's obviously important, but on some level, if that center doesn't know it, Tom Brady sure as hell will. And you just need somebody who's not going to get bulldozed in pass blocking.
You need a big guy who is just sitting next to Brady for these next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Just picking his brain and working together with him. And honestly, no disrespect to Ryan Jensen.
No, he's a very good center.
Yeah, he brings a different kind of leadership to the O-line and everything. And,
he's fighting everybody out there.
Yeah, he is. He is their center for sure. And I'm not just saying anybody can really slide in and fill that role.
As of the time of this recording, we don't know the full extent of Ryan Jensen's injury, so it's possible that he comes back at some point, but I don't think it would be for a little while.
We're fingers crossing it that he's going to be okay. It's not season ending.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that it is.
No, me neither. I've heard it could be like a month or 2 or something like that, but nothing conclusive. So I think at some point it's possible Ryan Jensen fills this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Ryan Jensen's back, then no questions asked. They got one of the best O-lines in the league. Tristan Wirfs
might be the best right tackle in the league.
He was already really good his rookie year, and now he's even more solid and going into year 3, correct?
Yep.
So yeah. I mean, this is a Super Bowl level roster, a Super Bowl level line. I think
it's a Super Bowl level offense on the whole.
Yeah, and even their defense is still Super Bowl level itself too, which we haven't even discussed yet.
We're about to hit them. They have a lot of very good players.
Yeah, quick shout out to Shaq Mason though too. He's a great right guard. They have
came from New England.
Yeah, they which makes sense. You want to go with Brady, and Brady keeps his
Tommy
protection
boy
around. Yeah,
exactly.
But, no, I mean, honest to God, I hope Tom Brady never retires because this 110%. Like, first of all, football without Tom Brady is just too bizarre to me. The prospect of it with him gone for a month was just terrifying. And it's almost like dad, it's almost like you're and granted I don't have I don't have extended experience with this, but it's almost like your dad leaving for an extended period of time and just not knowing he's gonna be back. I genuinely I was just like.
I mean, as a Broncos fan or former Broncos fan, you know a lot about Tom Brady being your daddy.
Shut the fuck up. It was out of respect. It was never out of. I hated that guy for so long. I hated him for so long, and then 28-3 happened, and I think I finally.
That was the single. That's my favorite Super Bowl I've ever watched.
I think I had to have an adult conversation with myself. It was just like, all right, you're just hating.
At some point, he's pretty great.
Yeah, it was like at a certain point, not every quarterback in the league can do that, and I'm like, no, fuck, I gotta give it to him. That was too awesome. I love Tom Brady. So
honestly,
having him back, and especially with a team like this, like I hope I see him for 2 more years.
If the 49ers aren't going to win the Super Bowl, I hope Tampa does it because I think Tom Brady should go out on top.
It's only right. It seems only right.
Like I would have been okay if he had done it after the Chiefs won. I would have been okay if he just walked after that first year in Tampa, been like, hey, I proved it. Bye. Yeah. Like, I think I would have had no problem with that.
Year 1, and that was just like so impressive. But then like the way he partied and everything, the way he talked, you knew there was
he was
for
coming
another
back.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it can't be my team, I'm hoping it's Tampa because I don't think he's back for more than a year. I think he's coming back for one last ride, try to get one last ring, and call it.
Realistically, and shout out to him for ending his career knowing like. Assuming Father Time doesn't hit the way that we assume it's not going to hit, but it is a possibility.
I don't think he would have come back if he felt himself slipping.
Exactly. I think he wants to end. With the quote, "I will walk away when I suck," and then he never fucking sucked.
Yeah,
like, that is so badass.
He hands Father Time his first L.
Yeah, and the way he could he was already doing that with the 26-3 or whatever the heck or the 27-3. That he did against the Rams. Like, everybody was pretty much already giving him his props of, like, Brady down to the wire, like, did it again.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that we're not talking about Brady in the Super Bowl right now is insane.
Yeah.
And that whole, oh, man. I'm glad he's back.
Let's hit their defense real quick.
Yeah.
So this defense has a lot of really solid players. The most notable ones to me are Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, Devin White, Levante David, and Antoine Winfield. Winfield is becoming one of the best safeties in the league. Levante David has been one of the best linebackers in the league for a decade. Devin White is a freak athlete. He can sometimes be out of position, but when he's right, he's really right. Shaq Barrett, underrated but consistent pass rusher, and Vita Vea is just impossible to move in the center of that D-line.
Yeah.
So the Bucs defense, it'll be good as ever. I think their weakest spot is corner.
Yeah.
But when everything else is really good, you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Especially when you got Winfield over the top of them. So I'm not particularly concerned about anything on this team. Like a big reason the Rams were able to get them out of there in the playoffs last year, they lose AB. Chris Godwin's gone. They had injuries on the line. Tristan Wirfs was out. Like, the Bucs just got hurt down the stretch at the worst time.
Yeah.
But had one of the best rosters in the league, and they still do. I think there's a really good chance they win the NFC. Like, that wouldn't shock me at all.
I want to put money down on the Bucs to win it all, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope you're not asking me to bet on that because I would not. Like, I'm not willing to put money against this team.
No, I thought about putting it on like FanDuel or something. Yeah. Just because I think that's like it's almost a slam dunk.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Rams fans are like, "Oh, we got the Rams." I prefer this team to the Rams.
I feel. See,
health withstanding, I'll take this team every single day.
When I think of the Rams team, I think of an all-night bender. I think of, okay, you know what? The high of the night is winning a Super Bowl.
We partied hard.
There's a fucking crash to a bender. There's always a fucking crash. Here, this looks like a nice, comfortable fucking bed you can sleep on day in and day out.
Yeah, this is one of those like nice memory foam mattresses.
Exactly. Like, this is like you could lie your head down on this and just pass out in 2 minutes, basically. Like I look at both of them are amazing experiences and they're both and can be indulged too much.
Yeah.
Both are very high ends of like different spectrums. Like, on comfort you got the bed, and then on, having an awesome time you think of, man, a crazy LA party, going on
definitely
going fucking crazy.
I also wouldn't be shocked if the attitude of the Buccaneers this year is a little bit different than it was last year, because I think they're going into this year pretty much with the knowledge of this is going to be Tom Brady's last year. And I think that they are all going to be absolutely locked in to try to get one last one.
Yeah.
Because, again, a lot of these players are well aware of what it's like to be a part of, like, an embarrassing franchise.
Yeah.
And, like, the Buccaneers are historically not very good. So I think that a lot of these players, like a Levante David in particular.
Shaq Barrett might have a crazy Von Miller 2015 year.
Like, but guys like Levante David, who've been there for a decade and went through a ton of awful years, are going to be really, really hell-bent on being like, hey, guys, these type of teams don't come around that often.
Yeah.
Lock your ass in, because we probably only have one last year with that guy.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked at all if this team comes in like with a different type of edge to them and attitude than they did coming off the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well said. I'm sorry I threw Shaq Barrett in there. I was on the complete wrong page. I was just talking defense playing.
No. You're all good. My thought was just like a lot of these dudes.
That is a great point. A lot of like Mike Evans himself can even be that same guy of, hey guys, like.
We've seen what this can be and how bad this can be.
Exactly. Like, we've seen droughts. Like, this is, this is the oasis in the middle of the desert, potentially. Like, you don't ever want to take this for granted. Kind of thing.
So I think that some of those dudes, like even Julio Jones, like they had some peak years in Atlanta.
Almost won a ring if it weren't for his fucking quarterback.
Like for his quarterback, I mean, but in Atlanta, you look at his years there. You had 2011, they made the playoffs. 2012, they lost in the NFC Championship. Didn't get back until that Super Bowl year, then never went back. So he's made the playoffs 3 times. And I think that Julio Jones would be very, very interested in, like, getting a ring.
Yeah. I think this is my pick for who wins the Super Bowl this year. I think absolutely. I give it to Tommy.
They're in my top 3. I just have to see. I think that I have them winning the NFC right now. I just have to. I have to really. I'll have to think about them compared to 1 or 2 other teams before I give a final pick on that. And we'll do that right before the season starts.
Sure.
But this is definitely, as of today, I probably have them winning the NFC.
I think I have them potentially. I think I have them winning the NFC. We'll talk about Super Bowl when it gets done.
Again, I've been saying this.
I wouldn't be surprised if they win it.
I've been saying this for a while too. I've really wanted Buffalo Tampa in the Super Bowl because I'm like, I want the Bills to be like, we finally made it here. We do that. And then when they stare across the sidelines, they see their goddamn nightmare of 20 years staring back in their eyes.
And how funny would it be with the shit talking that we got from the golf tournament of both
Brady and Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is like, oh, he's never been that guy. He's never beaten me. He's never been able to like take it away from me. That right there. Oh my God. Can we just fast forward?
I would really love it if it's not going to be the 49ers, because again, this is the conference my team's in, so I have a little bit of a rooting interest. But objectively, I think Tampa has a better shot. But I would love it if it's Tampa and Buffalo.
Ah, man, it would be.
Isn't it in Vegas this year?
Oh, if it's in Vegas. That'd be awesome.
I know it's Vegas in one of the next few years. As soon as that stadium was done, they booked it for a Super Bowl.
I don't blame them. I mean, first of all, granted, it is honestly a great looking stadium. Second of all is Vegas.
Oh, you know what? I think it might be in Dallas because I saw a bunch of people like oh no, the home team has been in the Super Bowl lately. We can't have Dallas.
Well, there's no worries about that one.
Yeah, exactly. I think we feel pretty safe. But so I get Tampa's rosters. It's an A+.
It's an A+.
They don't really have a weakness on it. You could say center could become a weakness or something like that.
I'm excited to see what they do.
It's a position that that if that's not your strong spot, you can survive that.
I'm excited to see what they do with the quarterback situation in the future. That's really...
I have no idea. I think it's smart of Tampa just to sort of say, like, we're just going to go all in right now, then deal with it.
No, I think they're absolutely right in what they're doing, but once it's all said and done, like... I mean,
didn't they draft?
They still have such a great roster.
They drafted a backup for him. Was it this year or last year when they drafted Trask?
Last year.
That was last year. Yeah, I thought it was last draft. Yeah, they drafted him to be a backup. Maybe he is. I don't think he'll be the guy.
They should just trade for Garoppolo. And just have Brady to Garoppolo.
That'd be pretty funny. That'd be pretty funny if Tom was like, I wanted you back on my team just so you know that at 44, I'm still better than you.
I think it'd be funny that he's like, I want you back on the team so that your 3rd ring can be from me.
Yeah, exactly.
So that
you couldn't get one yourself, Jimmy.
You've had the opportunity and you fucking blew it.
Yeah. I mean, it still grinds my gears that when he left New England, he wanted San Fran, and they were like,
San Fran said, nah, we're good.
Yeah, I've been stewing on that for a little. Again, that's the other reason.
A Patriots fanboy
You know what?
and a Niners fan getting Brady, man, you would
I
have
would
lost a pair of pants.
I would have lost all my pairs of pants every single Sunday. A new one gone.
Oh,
but no, see, that's the other thing that builds towards my Garoppolo animosity is you keep hearing things as a 49ers fan where you're just like, Rodgers would go there, Brady would want to go there, all these dudes would want to go there, and I'm like, I got this dude instead.
Fair enough.
I think that's definitely part of it where I'm like, imagine if it,
Jimmy G.
where I'm just like, imagine if it was Brady. Imagine if it was Rodgers. It's like, okay, we definitely would have won a Super Bowl then. But instead, I got to look at him overthrowing Emmanuel Sanders, throwing stuff right to the Rams defense. It's like, are you kidding me? I think that's a big part of it where I'm just like, if it was any of these other dudes that wanted to be here, this would not be the scenario.
We are completely different people. It's so funny. I'm like, give me Drew Lock or give me death. And you're
No.
like, give me every other fucking quarterback on the planet.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm sitting here. I hate to watch. My main thing is I hate it when you clearly see the guy's ceiling. You see what it is. He's not moving past it. And then they're still just so dug in on like, no, it'll work. It's like you've seen it doesn't. It's happened multiple times, and he can't stay healthy on top of it. And we're still going to sit here and be like, he's the guy.
I can't wait when we start doing compilations, and there's going to be like a 6-minute
of me.
of you just ranting.
I wage war on Jimmy G. I wage war on him as he wages war on my blood pressure. I cannot stand him.
So, all right, I have a question. If he goes off, and let's say... Because a couple of the teams I'm hearing that are interested in him are the Falcons, and which I don't think he ever gets a chance to win.
Somebody said Seattle, which I was like, oh please.
Someone said Seattle.
I was like, please give it to him. You'd hate Jimmy G then too.
So if he ends up on a roster and somehow ends up winning a ring, would you be pissed as shit that he did it for another team but was
no, probably not.
Would you get off his back and say he's actually he's a capable quarterback, and it just
given how completely hypothetical this is, sure.
Okay.
I don't know if I wouldn't say I'd say he's capable. I still wouldn't consider him great. I've seen a lot of not great quarterbacks win a Super Bowl.
Sure.
But I don't think any of the teams that would pick him up right now are in that position. I thought the only one that was possible to do that was Pittsburgh. Like if Pittsburgh had decided to go for him, like okay, I think that would probably turn out solid.
Sure.
Cleveland would have the roster for it,
yeah.
but Cleveland wouldn't be able to pull it off with him. He's too, I don't know, he's too brittle for it, and he's too inconsistent for the Browns. And not to mention,
they got the
if
run
they
game.
want, and
they
if
got
they
the run game,
so the 49ers.
No, I'm saying that granted, he probably still wouldn't make the whole season, but he could do what he did for the Browns.
And then the other thing is this: it's like, if he goes to the AFC, he won't be the guy that makes it out of there.
Sure.
I feel very confident in that.
Yeah, AFC's too loaded.
I don't think he gets out of the NFC because he couldn't do it anyways.
I think he finds an NFC team he can take to a division title.
Which one?
Okay, NFC South we already locked up is a no. NFC West obviously not.
Maybe one of those northern teams.
I think give him to an NFC North and.
I don't think he beats Kirk Cousins. Like, if he went to Minnesota, I don't think he beats out Kirk Cousins to start.
Okay, then. Okay. And Rodgers is already over there.
Rodgers is not going to be Green Bay, so he wouldn't take the Bears roster.
So then
Lions,
the NFC
no. East, maybe. If you put him on the Commanders, maybe.
Put him on the fucking Eagles, and he wins that division. Put him on the Eagles, he wins that division. Actually, yeah, you put him on the Eagles, he wins that division. Based on default, on paper, he's the best quarterback in that division. Most proven, at least.
I would take Dak over Jimmy.
I would not take
Dak. But I think him and Jalen Hurts are probably on a similar level. I think that that's probably the team, though. If you were to say Jimmy could take a team to a division title, you're probably talking Eagles.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think the gap.
Jalen Hurts is not looking good at all.
Oh, I don't think the gap between Jimmy and Jalen Hurts is huge. Is like what I'm saying. Like I think that they're both like, they're not the dude you want to be your guy, but they could be for a year or two.
Sure.
Like that's just the light I view him in. But again,
and granted, I think a hell of a lot better. But
I think their roster is one of the better ones. But like again, I think part of my bitterness towards Jimmy G is also just you keep hearing every single quarterback that comes available. It's like, yeah, this guy would like to go to San Francisco, and it's like, oh my god,
That's fair.
it's like because then
fair.
the wheels get turning in your mind.
You're like, oh, we could have this
Like
guy. This guy.
I remember, and obviously it's turned out horribly, but like before all of like the allegations against Deshaun Watson came out, he was already requesting a trade from the Texans, and they were saying he wanted San Fran, and it was like, well, damn, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Because he was young, and obviously that all went wrong.
Yeah.
But then you hear Rodgers grew up a Niners fan, would love to go to San Fran. Brady, same deal, and we still have Jimmy G out there.
Yeah,
so I think that's a big part of it, where it's like
just raw dog and porn stars and.
I know. Yeah, but that's all right. But yeah, NFC South, I feel pretty confident this division is going to go Bucks, Saints, Panthers, Falcons.
I think the same, but I do think the Panthers, like I said, I'll make that point again. I think they split a game with the Saints. I don't think the Saints run away with this as clearly as they do, as you do. But I think, yeah, the Saints end up with the second best spot. I don't think it's a wild card position. We'll take a look at what all that means.
I think that I'm just saying that I think that they'll be a team that'll be in striking distance of the very last one.
Yeah, I think that's potentially true. I don't think they make the playoffs with a wild card spot. I do think they're in the play for it for a good amount.
They might be one of the teams that has. They might be one of the teams that has a really, really important last game.
Yeah, and I would say that's fair. And watch it be against the fucking Panthers, and the Panthers win.
Isn't it?
No, I'm just saying.
Watch as it's Tampa.
Knowing our luck, 100%, it's gonna be Panthers Saints for Week 17. The Panthers are gonna win. I'll be like, I fucking told you.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll see.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
that'd be fine.
As long
as frankly, if they're in contention for that wild card spot at the end of the year, I'll feel validated on my Saints take.
Yeah, but I do think it's pretty cut and dry of who's the worst team, who's the third best team, who's the second best team, and then Tampa.
And then best team is just like dunking on all of them.
It's gonna be a.
I mean, the Buccaneers, offense or defense, each one of those units by itself is like as talented as the other team.
I think this division is 6 wins right off the bat for the Bucks. Like I think they win. I think the Bucks.
I'd like it to be 6 wins. I've seen really great teams just have like one weird kryptonite team.
And that's totally fair, but I think kind of the way we were talking about that kind of feeling the Bucks locker room's gonna have is, hey, no more bullshit losing to the goddamn fucking Saints and Jameis Winston of all fucking people.
Yeah, they probably don't want to lose to him, but
especially as a former
Buccaneer, yeah. I get that. I'm just saying I've seen a lot of really good teams just not have a good time. Like for example, for my team, oftentimes is not as like conventionally talented as like Green Bay, but Green Bay for
Joe
some,
Burrow is 0-2
but for some,
Browns, bro. Like,
yeah, exactly. But it's
I get it.
For some reason Green Bay just can't seem to like figure out San Fran. For some reason Cleveland can't figure out Cincy. For some reason New England couldn't figure out Miami.
Yeah,
it's like there's just weird stuff, and that's just sort of how it feels with the Saints.
Sure.
Where it's like for some reason whatever it is they do just gives Tampa an issue. Except the one time they played them in the playoffs, thank God.
Yeah. And that's what, and I mean, genuinely, that's what we love about the league is that any given Sunday kind of atmosphere.
For the love of God, this year we saw it at the very end of the regular season. Indianapolis hasn't won in Jacksonville in like 6 years. And it came back, and it's like, oh, no.
Worst timing ever for Carson Wentz to just completely shit the bed.
Yeah. But again, so sometimes it just happens like that, and that's why I say they split, because I just think Saints have shown this weird knack to be Tampa's kryptonite. I think that Tampa's just that much better that they'll at least split them, though. Yeah. They could sweep them. I'm cool with that. I'd like that.
I think this is the year they go 6-0. Just easy 6 wins for Tampa and Tom.
Tampa Tommy.
Tampa Tom. And then
at the playoffs, we'll see the return of Rob Gronkowski.
I am not surprised at all that quote came out. I'm like, yeah, dude, we're going to see Gronk rested up after a full season of just taking it easy, ball out in the playoffs, and then get another ring, call it a day.
There we go.
Yep, and they're both going to retire. But I will not be surprised in 2 years when Tom Brady is a part owner of the Miami Dolphins and Sean Payton is back in
their coach.
As their coach, and Tom Brady is winning it. So.
I still think Dallas is going to make a hell of a run at him.
Brady?
No, for Sean Payton. They were thinking about it already. I think that he would rather go to Miami because I think the Cowboys are a little like overbearing in terms of like the amount of tinkering that ownership wants to do.
I don't want to deal with Jerry Jones at all.
Yeah, I mean, if they could humble themselves in the front office enough to say that they would let Sean Payton control it, I think he would do it. But other than that, I think Miami's a great fit for him. But again, I think that all depends on how well Mike McDaniel's going to do there. But we'll see.
I think he's a patsy. I think they use him as kind of a almost a crutch of explaining like, oh, Tua didn't work out, and we're moving on from Tua because Mike McDaniel. But they picked a guy specifically who is one of the best run designers in football. So you picked a deep threat wide receiver.
Came from San Fran.
You picked a quarterback who can't throw it fucking deep, and even on that 65-yard video, yes, I've fucking seen it. It is still fucking the newest one. It's still, he has him beat by a hell of a lot more, and it's only 65 yards because Tua can barely get it there. I think absolutely they use this as a excuse of, hey, you're supposed to be a great offensive mind. If you can't fix this offense, we're moving on from everything.
I think he is a great offensive mind. I
think he's going to be screwed over.
And I think depending on how long Sean Payton's going to wait. My philosophy with head coaches is 3 years. Just like with quarterbacks.
I agree.
Like rookie quarterbacks.
I'd say 2 years for a head coach.
I'll say it like this. It depends on where you start from.
Because you need to see that. You need to see that Brian Flores level jump, though. You need to see you need to see the team in 2 years. You can see it. Like if 2 years the record hasn't there, you can at least see a very different team coming.
I'm always willing to. For me, it depends on where the team starts. Like if you're starting off for Doug Peterson in Jacksonville, I will give you 3 years because you're starting in a place where it's completely unreasonable to expect anything.
Yeah.
I think Miami's kind of similar in that, I mean, granted, they made huge strides this offseason, but a lot of those have to do with Mike McDaniel.
And that's kind of where I see the issue of, I guess, is that like they have made enough strides that.
But that's in large part because of him.
Well, yeah, but I think on paper the offense should be good enough that there's no excuse here.
I think that he is not the person that has the pressure on him right now. I think right now it's all Tua.
Oh, and I don't mean to insinuate that he's already on the hot seat year one. I'm just saying that if they wanted Sean Payton, they would absolutely throw this guy under the bus because of the offense.
Here's why I would, if Sean Payton becomes an option. I think Sean Payton probably is out at least 2 years.
I think he takes 2 years.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is I think Brady plays 2 years in Tampa and then he ends up playing till 50.
But here's what I'll say. So say he goes. So he's in Miami. Say they figure out Tua is not the guy. Perfectly plausible. I think that whoever the next guy they bring in is, depending on
Lamar.
I think if it's Lamar, it'll work out really well because you want to talk about a run game, a nasty run game then. But
you have Tyreek Hill.
But Lamar can throw it deep.
Yeah.
Not accurately, but he can throw it deep.
Exactly. So I don't give a shit if he can't throw it
just throw it in an area. Tyreek Hill will get there. But well, dude, Lamar's not a weakness.
That's a different conversation.
But Mike McDaniel, if Tua's not the guy and they draft a rookie, I say you give him at least 2 years to develop a rookie.
Sure.
If they bring in a vet, then you got one more year before we start looking at it.
Yeah.
But I think that it's always unfair to bring in a new coach and then immediately be like, if it's not perfect this year, it's over.
And I'm with you 110%. I'm just saying that, again, if they wanted Sean Payton and Tom Brady, they would do whatever it takes to get Sean Payton and Tom Brady, even if it is unfair to Mike McDaniel, who deserves a better chance.
Yep.
So.
But I think that'll just about wrap us up for today.
Yeah.
The next show will be the AFC South all-time roster.
Okay.
And that'll be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that one. Colts are fun, and then everybody else.
Dude, Titans have an interesting dilemma, but we'll get there.
We'll get
there.
We'll get there.
But thanks for tuning in, you guys. Peace.
Peace.